Tips for Sustainable Wealth every Friday 7 p.m. UTC by Fluffy and Alex. Today we have one already huge decentralized wireless infrastructure, Helium, versus a small but potentially enormous new connectivity layer for the internet, Syntropy. Guys, we are talking about vision here, and those projects don't lack in that. We might have here huge investing opportunities if the development proceeds good. What to choose for the long term? What is the potential here? Is the team good? Now, first let's start with performance, or which project has made more money for investors until now. Since July of 2020, when both projects were accessible to trade, we can see that Helium, the blue line, clearly outperformed Syntropy NOIA, the yellow line. So, as we can see, the recent bull market of 2021 was more generous towards Helium's HNT token. Basically, if we had invested in the second quarter of 2020 $1,000 in Syntropy's NOIA token, today we would have around $15,000 in our pockets. The same amount of money invested in Helium, though, for the same time period would give us around $50,000. I would say pretty good. We could buy easily a Tesla by now, right Fluffy?
I don't know about Tesla, but at least half Tesla.
Guys, if you like to check another awesome crypto battle, just click at the suggested video at the right top corner. And now Fluffy, what about the use cases?
Yeah. Helium is a layer 1 project launched back in 2018, so an old project. The Helium network is a decentralized peer-to-peer wireless network like Napster and BitTorrent that enables devices to wirelessly connect to the internet and geolocate themselves without the need for satellite location hardware or even mobile networks. Syntropy is a layer 1 project launched back in 2017, so also an old project, guys. Syntropy is using the blockchain technology as a distributed ledger for the technology users in order to calculate spare compute and perform bandwidth optimization. Syntropy is offering the following services: privacy by default, user network governance, end-to-end data security, optimized connection performance. Helium is funded by 30 different investors. Helium has raised a total of $364.8 million in funding over 7 rounds. Top investors for Helium are FTX Ventures, wow, I wonder why, and Minch Reventures. And Syntropy top investors are 5 Blocks, a private investment company that provides liquidity, marketing and funding for projects with potentially high returns, and Blackwater Management, a digital asset investment firm based in Seoul, South Korea. Now let's have a quick look at the teams, the project teams, Alex. NOIA team had an interesting growth of 103% the last 2 years, and an increase in both business development and engineering departments. This shows that their technology is evolving and there is an interest in developing their business in B2B clients. We see similar growth in Helium. The biggest difference is that Helium is mostly focused in entrepreneurship rather than marketing. We didn't expect anything else anyway. Also, Helium company evaluation is much bigger and the headcount seems to be almost identical, which is kind of strange. Now let's move into our Tokenomics with Alex. Fun with Tokenomics, Alex.
Before discussing some interesting recent developments to make price predictions and how huge is the potential we have here, let's have some fun with economics, Fluffy, and decide which is a better hold for the long term.
Exactly.
Helium is almost 30 times bigger than Syntropy, with a valuation of around $1 billion. Syntropy is definitely a small cap with a market cap of $33.3 million. There are 121 million HNT tokens circulating and 565 million NOIA tokens comparatively. Maximum there can ever be 223 million Helium tokens and 1 billion NOIA tokens. This constitutes 54.2% of the Helium's max supply and 56.5% of Syntropy's. Basically, they have almost identical percentage of the supply circulating. This raises the question of how fast the rest of the tokens will come out, creating new sell pressure. We definitely don't want a lot of new tokens unlocking and people selling those, do we? So, inflation rate for Helium is 20% per year and dropping, and 15% for NOIA comparatively. This is pretty good for both. An important thing to mention here for NOIA tokens is that the project has pre-decided emission of the token which comes out every year. This here is for the year of 22. As this is not all coded, the team states it can have slight changes, as for example for 2021 we should have 471 million tokens out but had around 500 million. The positive thing here is that the team is very transparent and explained why this happened, and the excess tokens were used in staking incentives, financing business operations and fast team growth. This, combined with the project's claims that the tokens unlocking for the team were almost untouched, made me skeptical, and I verified the info on the blockchain. In the span of 2 years, the team's wallet received around 100 million NOIA tokens, and for the same time period, most of the addresses that have claimed their tokens to their personal wallets haven't done anything with them, just holding. And those that have actually sold on Uniswap or KuCoin have sold around 30% of the tokens and still are holding the majority. There are a few who sold all, but the amounts they had weren't very big, so the claims seem to be true. As for Helium, they release 2.5 million new tokens per month, but every 2 years they have a halving event. Basically the amount cuts in half. One other interesting thing is that you need to burn HNT tokens to get data credit, which is used to pay gas fees for transactions and sending of data on the blockchain. I don't want to get into details about net emissions. All we have to understand is that in certain points there will be a reduction of supply. Thus, at a distant future, HNT token will be deflationary.
Wow, sounds interesting.
For now, it seems like the long-term choice and the safer one would be Helium, but we are not done, as Syntropy is much smaller and has much more room to grow, and Helium has some issues. Let's continue to the most interesting part about where those projects are headed, and let's take a look into recent developments as well. Fluffy?
Fluffy is here. Now again, let's have another different type of discussion. With more than 10 patents already filed, Syntropy continues building a solid legal foundation for their company, this time is being granted a critical patent that combines tokenomics and networking to secure the future of Web3. This patent is essential to protecting the fundamental technology. Syntropy modernized the internet and decentralized connectivity. Sports betting and gaming giant Entain adopted Syntropy technology to improve the internet for Web3. Syntropy helps Entain provide its customers better online experience by improving network performance, security, and ease of use. Its prevalent modern sports betting and Web3 services.
So it seems they move slowly and building something huge. How do you see the company's growth and vision? Personally, it seems like a project with a valuation of only $33 million doing pretty fine. All we need is for it to pick up pace. No? Or do you think what they try to accomplish is too big for them?
Startups usually are successful when they have a consequent growth of more than 100% minimum per year in order for them to be extremely successful. What is very good for the project is that they demonstrate innovation. They have been developing business in the form of B2B, like business to business development, rather than focusing on the community and providing business to client, which is not as much profitable. But time will show what's going to happen.
Well, also one other thing to mention is that for now the NOIA token is an ERC20 on Ethereum, but they did announce in 2021 Polkadot integration. Do you think this will affect price positively in the future?
I don't think that it's a pure ERC20 token from the perspective that their infrastructure is expanding outside Ethereum. So the way to describe it would be a hybrid rather than a pure ERC20 token, I would say.
Okay, what are the recent developments for Helium though?
Helium has reached a 1.2 billion valuation in a 200 million Series D raises from Tiger Global Management and Andersen Horowitz were the leaders of the funding round. FTX Ventures also participated. Interesting. FTX is still very active and participating in investments of interesting projects.
I believe any big investor seeing the growth and success in adoption Helium had would be pretty confident in their expansion now. This is why FTX is still supporting, I believe, which should tell us that Helium can grow more and make investors more gains, no?
I am a bit skeptical about Helium, even though it looks like it does have some kind of good fundamentals. Helium Network, moving on, is introducing a model expansion to meet demand to support an unlimited number of wireless protocols, each with its own incentive model and governance. It is said that beginning with 5G, the Helium network will have a new token called Mobile to reward hotspot owners for providing 5G coverage. Helium attempts to expand its offerings with a 5G connectivity and more. The existing HNT token will continue to exist and serve as something of a reserve currency or floor currency for the expanding Helium ecosystem.
I was reading about those new tokens Helium plans to introduce for each wireless protocol. As I understood it, HNT token should still remain the main token and actually would benefit from all this because all those new tokens will be redeemable for HNT tokens.
That's something that it's highly likely that it's going to happen, but there are also main concerns about the privacy because HNT is going to be in a position to collect a significant amount of private data from its users. But time will show. Privacy is important.
Okay, but I think there is another big issue with Helium.
Helium does not come without any issues. That is obvious by now. Various blogs reported that bad actors, possibly numbering in the hundreds, have falsely asserted their locations so that they can steal money from legitimate miners and users. This is known as a proof of coverage hacking ring. It's a relatively simple exploit and unfortunately may become a serious problem as the network grows. Let's hope that Helium is going to deal with it. Helium is a well-funded project with decent economics, but still concerns remain on how this project is going to perform in the future. Security issues related to the miners' rewards and user privacy should be addressed ASAP. On the other hand, Syntropy looks like a promising project with good fundamentals and great potential. The company also has decent funding with a team that knows what it's doing. Time will tell. Nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. Risk management and diversification is the key. For short term, I would say NOIA is a good choice, and I do think it might be a hidden gem, although I'm not very sure. Also, HNT in the past performed well and looks like they're doing okay, being very conservative.
So you believe that Helium can fix those important hacking issues that disincentivize everyone?
From my experience, because I talk with HNT miners, Helium did lose a lot of miners from the beginning, but now more and more people seem to come into the HNT.
Are they addressing those issues? Do we know anything about that?
Unfortunately, there is no public information about that we could find of that verifies that everything is fixed.
Okay, we can only hope. Well, final words from me would be similar to your conclusions, but I think that we could invest a small amount into Syntropy for the long term as well. If it indeed succeeds to secure more big partnerships, we could see it grow 10x easily. A market cap of 30 million is small and can go to 300 million relatively fast. Risk management though, and only invest what you can afford to lose into high risk, high rewards plays like this. Pay attention to tokenomics and the unlocks, community growth and the integrations they announce. Helium is a long-term play, but be careful as we need to see major issues to be solved. After that, we are Gucci, all good to go.
Okay guys, thank you very much for watching us. Please comment, share and like the video as this helps us with YouTube algorithm.
Thank you guys, thank you very much. Bye bye.
Have a nice evening, bye bye.